Any questions?
Regards to people who have connections with Christians.
Oh, what
I mean, Christians who flee. Maybe they do business together. Maybe they have some professional relationship. And sometimes they share gifts. If somebody receives anything from someone like that, and is he allowed to take it and put it into a mitzvah?
Wait, they made a business? They have a business relationship, or is the person donating?
Yeah, no, you make a gift to the person.
Okay, so when it comes to receiving gifts from a idol worshiper, you're allowed to accept gifts. Technically, you're allowed to accept gifts, but you're not allowed to accept tzedakah. Gift and charity are two different things. Gift and charity are two different things. If, let's say, an idol worshiper gives you a gift, technically, if it's not in the name of his idol, if it's just because he likes you, if it's not connected to idol worship anyway whatsoever, because you're not allowed to benefit from idol worship, and he wants to give you a gift, he wants to do something. There's leniencies out there where some people don't accept it anyway, but nonetheless, there's more leniencies there. But as far as charity is concerned, you're not allowed to accept. That you're not allowed to accept. You're not allowed to. So there's, for example, this is a problem that I deal with all the time because there are quite a few Christians that want to donate to us. And one of them keeps emailing me, asking me to explain to him the laws of tithe, of maaser, so he can give me money. I don't even respond. I don't want him to give me anything. Why? Because I know it's coming in the name of his JCPenney. So I don't want it. As much as we need money, as much as we're struggling, as much as we need help, as much as... doesn't make a difference. God pays the bills. So as far as receiving charity, it's a problem. This puts all of these big Jewish organizations in a serious problem because a lot of them are funded by Christians. A lot of them are funded by Christians. They think they're funded by Christians because it's a good thing. I'm telling you it's not. And the Torah is telling you it's not, because ultimately their own Bible tells them that missionizing is part of their mission. So as far as accepting gifts, again, there are certain leniencies. As far as doing business with them, there's definitely a leniency there. But the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah says that you must refrain from doing anything with them 3 days before their holiday. 3 days before their holiday. So for example, their holiday is coming up. What is it, 25th, 26th, whatever it is. You should refrain from doing anything with them 3 days before their holiday. Why? Because there's always a risk that the money that you're going to give them is going to be used directly for idol worship. Right now you do business with them You don't know what they're going to use the money for. They can use it to eat, they can use it to drink, they can use it for whatever. But if it's 3 days right before their holiday, then they could literally say, oh, look, I'm celebrating the holiday of my idol, and that's why I got the money. So in essence, you become a partner to the Avodah Zarah. You become a partner to the Avodah Zarah, so you have to refrain 3 days before, 3 days after. So there's some do even more, but the point is that there are certain laws when it comes to dealing with idol worshippers. You're allowed to deal with them, but you need to know there's certain things that you have to walk around. As far as accepting tzedakah, I mean, some of the tzaddikim don't accept tzedakah from non-Jews at all, period. As a matter of fact, I know from Rav Efraim refuses to accept tzedakah from someone that doesn't keep Shabbat. Like sometimes people send money to Bezrat HaShem for Avrechim that we fund, and I'll send it. And for Rav Efraim, for example, if somebody sends specifically to him, I ask, okay, who's the person? What's their name? They keep Shabbat. It is. You ask. If they don't even send it to them. It doesn't make a difference. There was a shiur that he did a couple days ago. And somebody died. They invited him to do a shiur or whatever. And some of the people there were well-to-do. They had some money. And not very big tzaddikim, but nonetheless they had money. So a few of them really liked him, liked his shiur and so on and so forth. And one of them says, yeah, I like what you're saying, this woman saying, I like what you're saying, da-da-da-da-da-da, I believe. Okay, great. Okay, so what's the problem? Oh, listen, you talked about Shabbat. And listen, you have to understand, I fund all of these yeshivot. I give money to this rabbi and that rabbi and this Breslev and this Chabad and this one and this rabbi and that rabbi. I give all money to all these different people. Ton of money. We get a certain amount of money. Ton of money. We give to all these different places. And for whatever reason or another, there's no blessing in the money though. No blessing. We're still struggling every month. Doesn't matter if I make $1 million, I make 100,000, I make whatever. Doesn't matter what it is. Still, nothing left. I'm always over. There's always a loan I have to take. I'm always behind the wheel. So he says, yeah, well, I can tell you why. He says, why? He says, because you work on Shabbat. He says, yeah, but no one else told me anything. I gave it to this rabbi, and that rabbi, and this rabbi, and that rabbi, and this rabbi, and that rabbi. It's like, you can tell, I don't know what you talked about. I don't know who you talked about, anything. All I can tell you is, you work on Shabbat, you have no blessing in the money. That's a guarantee. The fact that you're alive is a miracle. Miracle. Mamash miracle. There's Yam Suf, and there's you. Yam Suf happened 3,000 years ago. It's a miracle. Still split. The fact that you're alive is a miracle. She says, okay, listen, let's get to business. Israelis are serious. Let's get to business. I like what you say. Talmid Chacham, your books, this comes out of your mouth. It's like, mamash, beautiful diamonds. I like what you say. All of the money that I give to this organization and that organization, all of these organizations, we're talking about a ton of money. All of the money I'm going to give to you. Just give up on the Shabbat thing for me. Just pray for me on the Shabbat thing. Just pray for me that I succeed. Now, Rav Efraim goes to kollel from morning to night. Rav Efraim, morning to night, he learns before kollel, after kollel, during kollel, Baruch HaShem, all of that for $400 a month. That's what an Avrech gets. Avrech gets $400-500 a month. And he's going to be a Dayan soon, Be'ezrat Hashem. He's going to be one of the Dolei Ador, at this point, gets $500 a month. 5 kids at home. Can't survive on that. But Hashem, here and there, as miracles happen, we survive every month. But nonetheless, if you think you have a test with your $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 a month, like one of my students tells me, oh, it's so tough to be single with only $2,000 a month. So if you think you're struggling with your few $1,000s a month, that you can't even give $100 a month, tzedakah, you can't even survive to learn Torah, you can't even do all these different things, you're struggling. I tell people, listen, can you commit? We're trying to raise money, we give all these books for free, CDs for free, Kiru for free, lectures for free, me for free, the kids for free, the drawings for free, everything is free. But it costs money. It's not really free. I give it for free, but it's not free, Bimit. Somebody has to pay for it. We're trying to raise money. We're trying to have organization. What's the money for? Oh, it's for bubble gum. What's the money for? It's for the books that you got for free. It's for the CDs you got for free. It's for the lectures we come for free. The gas to come for free. Everything is free, but it's not free. It costs money. So can you commit to $150 a month? Can you commit to $250 a month? Can you commit? Yeah, $250 a month. You make $5,000. You make $3,000. $250 a month. It's your maaser anyway. It's not even maaser. Can you commit to $250 a month? Oh, Rabbi, it's a little hard. I'm telling you, I never asked for money. Baruch Hashem never asked for money. But you have conversations sometimes with people. It's like they make it like to commit to $200, $300 a month. It's like they're giving you an organ. So now, they give you a kidney. I'll give you. Just not the $250 a month, not the $500 a month, not the $1,000. But you just told me you make $100,000. Said that Baruch Hashem. We don't have to ask. The point is that you think you have the test. Rabbi Efraim makes $500 a month. Kids, wife, house, everything you have. Someone just offered him, I don't even know how much. I know it's a lot. More than anything that we can give. And he says, Giveret, if it was my rule, I'd do whatever you want. It's not my rule. It's not my rule. The Shabbat is not my rule. It's God you have to deal with. I don't need your money. I have plenty, he says to her. I have plenty of money. How much does he have? He has $500 a month. I have plenty of money, Giveret. Miss, I have plenty of money. I don't need your money. I need you to keep Shabbat. You understand? Why? That's the truth. The woman, when she heard what he says, if you ever saw a woman's a face mutate into something else, that's what just happened. She didn't know what to do with the response. It was the last thing in our imagination. It was right after that one. Why? Because people don't answer like that. Why? Because everyone else says, give me the money. Where do I make the check payable to? I'll pray extra for you. I'll give you zgula. I'll give you a rubber band. I'll give you a string. I'll make a new religion for you. It's not our rules. It's not our rules, Rabotai. It's not our rules. You want to wear quarter kippah? Wear quarter kippah. You want to wear tank tops? Wear tank tops. You want to wear skirts? Wear skirts. You want to wear whatever you want. You want to do whatever you want. Go and eat chazir. Go eat pork. On your Shulchan Shabbat. Do whatever you want. It's not our rules, though. It's not our rules. You want to put the Avodah Zarah on your head? Go pray to HaShem with Avodah Zarah. Go. It's like going to your wife with your girlfriend. Hey, honey, meet my girlfriend. Hey, wife, the mother of my children, hey, meet my girlfriend. You're going to God with Avodah Zarah on your head. You want to pray to God, and you're wondering why you still have cancer, why there's problems in the world, why people are dying, why your prayers are not being answered even to just get to work on time. Why? Everybody's surprised. Why is this happening? Where's God? You have Avodah Zarah on your head. You have Avodah Zarah in your business. You have Avodah Zarah in your overall life. You're constantly running away from the truth. Constantly running away. It's not our rules. You want to make rules? Go all the way. Become a Greek already. But just know you have to pay the bill. Just know you have to pay the bill. So, when it comes down to dealing with anyone, you always have to take this into consideration. Are you a Jew or you're a Greek? That's what you have to take. There's a very, very thin line between the two. Just an outfit change. That's all it is. When you want to be a Jew, it's a tough decision. Why? It's a constant sacrifice. It's a constant test. Constant. Doesn't end. Someone told my wife a story of what he's dealing with. And it's, mamash, you see how the Satan comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes. He says, I'm going to the store. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to go get something to, I'm going to get sufganiyot. Chanukah. I'm going to get sufganiyot. Sufganiyot, Chanukah. Fits. And there's two options. Some bunch of options. There's two options. He says, it's on the road. I can make a right. And I go to this one place that's 2 minutes away. Less than 2 minutes away, it's one place. Or I can make a left. And it's 15 minutes away. Meaning 2 minutes back and forth, so 4 minutes. Or a half hour out of my life. Logically, which one do you pick? You don't have to be logical. 4 minutes you pick. Why? Unless you like to waste your time. He says, I chose the 30 minutes. I chose to waste a half hour of my life. Why? He says, in the 4 minute option, the 2 minutes plus times 2, I know for sure, that's what he says, I know for sure that I'm going to see an immodest woman. For sure. On the 30 minute option, it's a possibility. Now, if you were telling me this is 4 minutes and this is 4 hours, I'd say, okay, it's a different town. So why is 4 minutes for sure you're going to see immodesty and a half hour possibility? Why? It's not such a big difference. You can't go to a different city in that short of a period of time. What's the difference? He says in 4 minutes, the restaurant over there, the employees are all immodest. So I know for sure I'm going to see an immodest woman. Over there, the employees are regular, and maybe the people, the customers are immodest, but there's not always customers in the store, so hopefully there's no customers. So I took a half-hour trip. That's someone who's trying to protect their eyes. Do you understand? That's the test. That's the test. If you're willing to drive a half hour, you pass the test. You're not, you're still in infancy stages. You're still in your infancy stages. So when you pray to HaShem to give you X, Y, Z and he doesn't answer, or the answer is no, don't be surprised. Why? You're not willing to do anything for him. You're not even willing to drive a half hour for him. A half hour you're not willing to drive for him. No, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look. Gemara says anyone that goes in a place where he knows for sure there's going to be immodest women, even if he closes his eyes, he's still considered a rasha. Why? Why are you giving yourself a test? Why are you putting yourself in test? Who says you're going to pass it? Why are you so confident? Understand? Next question.
I know that there is a prohibition for Jews not to eat or get in the habit of eating on the same table with Goy.
Ken.
That's that the children come to marry.
Ken. Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah.
So what if, in the case of someone having, part of a company and they decide to have lunch at a place together, and he goes but he doesn't eat?
Okay, so this is a very good question. What happens if somebody works for a company and they're having an event? And he can eat, but he chooses not to eat. Is it still okay? Okay, so now you have to understand this question has multiple parts to it. First and foremost, is the place kosher? The place, not the food, is the place kosher? Meaning you can sometimes have a meeting. I remember in New York, I tried keeping kosher, at least to my understanding, even since I was a kid. So I remember the first client meeting I ever had. It was with the guy David Taylor from Texas. And David Taylor came to visit me from Texas, and he brought his entourage with him. David Taylor was a former banker in Bank One and Bank of America and so on. Very, very successful guy. And really nice guy. We did business for many years together. But the first time I ever met him, he brought people with him. And he told me, listen, wherever we want to go, we'll meet you. So I wanted to go to a fancy schmancy restaurant. So I picked a fancy schmancy restaurant. Only problem is the fancy schmancy restaurant wasn't kosher. Now what did I do? I had a little bit of money. So I said to another fancy schmancy restaurant that's actually kosher, I said, I want you to give me a steak to deliver it to my fancy schmancy restaurant. And I told the fancy schmancy restaurant that's not kosher to accept the steak and serve it to me with them. And I thought this was okay. This was okay. Why? They're giving me a plate. Everybody has their food. They're ordering their steak with, each steak is $1 zillion, and with the shrimp and with the garden fish. And I have a kosher steak in tinfoil. Look like it's like lunch money, like my wife just made it for me. But whatever, I'm this young guy. I think it's okay. Technically, it's okay as far as I ate kosher meat. But it's not allowed. Why is it not allowed? Because the place is not kosher. Now, had I been a religious Jew at the time, I would have known this. Why? Because any Jew walking out or in that sees me in the non-kosher place, by default thinks that the place is kosher. Why? Because he's not going to look for signs. Oh, where's the kosher sign? Where's the kosher sign? He's not going to look for the kosher sign. He says, there's the kosher Jew. There's a kosher Jew inside a non-kosher restaurant. That means the restaurant is kosher. He's the certificate. He's a certificate. He doesn't know that I got a steak from a different restaurant and it's in tin foil. He doesn't know all that stuff. He's not looking at my plate. And even if he looks at my plate, he just thinks maybe it's just something from the, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what I did. So I become the kosher stamp. That's a problem. So if the place itself is not kosher, under no condition are you allowed to go in there. Even if you're not eating. Forget about eating. Even if you bring your own sandwich, you're not allowed to eat there. Not allowed. Why? Because you become the kosher certificate, and you have to take on the burden that anyone that, in essence, looks at you and decides to eat at that place, not just that day, any other time in their life, 6 months later, 5 years later, they're going to eat at that place because they remember they saw Betzalel eat here, so it must be Betzalel's tzaddik. Who in their right mind is ever going to think Betzalel is sitting in a not kosher place? Betzalel's certificate. So now you have yourself a problem. Why? Every single time the guy eats there, he thinks it's kosher, his wife thinks it's kosher, the kids thinks it's kosher, their friends now think it's kosher. There's a whole entourage of people the Satan brought to this restaurant because they saw Betzalel in the restaurant 5 years ago. You have a problem. So already, place not kosher, not allowed to enter. That's one. Two, if the place is kosher and the food is kosher, second question is the environment kosher? Meaning, is this going to be an immodest place? So now, if let's say you have a brother, sister, cousin, parent, uncle, neighbor, best friend, boss, whoever, invites you to an event where there's going to be immodesty, especially if there was going to be mixed dancing, it's areg ve'al ya'avor. It's better you die and don't go there. Why? Because it's considered the same thing as actually being in intimate with these people. Why? Because that's what happens after the place. You become a partner to it. Again, some people don't like to hear this. Some people don't agree with it. But that's what the halakha is. What are they going to tell me? No, but my rabbi came to my daughter's wedding and there was mixed dancing, there was break dancing, mixed dancing, undancing. The rabbi was there too. He was sitting there with the other rabbis. They were all on the same table. They didn't dance, but they were there. So that means it's kosher, right? No, it just means they're part of the sin. All it means is they're part of the sin. That's all it means. Doesn't mean it's kosher. So, to go to a place where there's immodesty, you're not allowed to go. Part 3. So this means that many of the people that call themselves religious, before we go to part 3, many of the people that believe that they're religious, that have these parties themselves, forget about attending them. There's some people that I know that consider themselves very religious. The kids go to yeshiva, they learn Torah every day, the parents learn Torah, even wear kisui rosh. But when they go and they have the party of their own, all of a sudden, all bets are off. All of a sudden, the scarf is replaced by a wig. It's a party. How could I show up to a party with anything less than a 3 feet long wig? Come on, everyone's going to make fun of me. So, HaShem is in their life up to a point. Up to a point. When there's an event, HaShem's not there. At home, in the laundromat, at the supermarket, he's there. So we wear kisui rosh. But at the party, we put a wig on. So already you see there's a problem. Then you see, oh no, we believe in the Torah until it comes to our own personal party. How are we going to have a party without dancing? How are we going to have a party with the wife and the bride and groom not dancing? Everyone has to look at them. How can we have a party without the father and the daughter dancing? Come on, it's a minhag, it's a this. Minhag is bigger than halakha. They start creating their own laws. So unfortunately, this brings a lot of asonot, a lot of disasters to Am Yisrael. You see that many people that had major disasters in their life, unfortunately these things preceded it. Just a reality. You want to go write blogs about me, you want to hate me, you want to do whatever it doesn't make a difference. I didn't write the law. You want to go deal with God. You want to go blame me for it? Alvai, that I was at fault for it. So that's the second thing in regards to modesty and where to attend, where not to attend. Last but not least, what's the point? What is the point of you attending? That's the point. That's the third. Third is, what is the outcome? What is the point of you attending? Now, if it's a business meal, and it's just a corporate. Now, if you don't attend, are you going to lose your job? If not, then you have to evaluate what's the benefit of going. Because now there's no loss of not going. What's the benefit of going? Are you going to get a raise? No. Are you going to what? What's going to happen out of it? Is that time, the hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours of wasting your life in this party, eating with a bunch of people that you may or may not like, wasting your lifetime, your spiritual lifetime doing this, is that worth it? You're going to go to Olam Haba one day, say, hey, hello, how are you? How was everything? Oh, okay. This is the Olam Haba you could have gotten. This is what you got. Wait, it's two different things. Oh yeah, that's the 6 hours. Remember the 6 hours you spent once a month? That's the difference. That's the difference. You remember you used to, the 6 hours, remember you used to go to parties and it was kosher party. It was kosher people. But that's a different Olam Haba. It's different. Not saying Gehenom, just saying it's different. So, what's the point of you going there? Is there a benefit? Is there a loss? If there's a loss, obviously that has to go into consideration. If there is, because again, it becomes bitul Torah, it becomes you're wasting Torah time. So you have to evaluate all these things, assuming the first two are a pass. Assuming it's a kosher place, kosher food, kosher environment, and so on. Still, you have to evaluate why. Why am I going there? And I can tell you personally, I mean, Baruch Hashem, I have many students that invite me to events. And it's sad for me, but I don't want to go. So I try to, Baruch Hashem, be busy all the time. Because I always have an excuse, I'm not lying. I don't want to go to a wedding. I don't want to go to a bar mitzvah. I don't want to go to any of these. Why? It's not because I have anything against them specifically, and I'm not even saying it's not a kosher party. I'm sure if they're my students, Baruch Hashem, if they listen to anything I say, it's going to be a kosher party. But I don't want to go. Why? I'd rather even if it's a kosher event and a kosher food and a kosher everything, I still don't want to go. Why? I'd rather spend time doing something else. I'd rather help neshamot come back to HaShem. I'd rather learn Torah, help my own neshama. I'd rather do other things than sit there, nothing, sitting there for 3 hours and, I don't know, looking at people. For me, it's not my idea of fun. So if you like me, don't invite me. You can tell me, listen, well, you can come if you want to give the honor, the respect, whatever you want to do for your own conscience or something like that. You don't have to even for that. But you like me, don't invite me. What? Tell me, you study. Oh, you want to invite me for shiur? I'll come for shiur. Shiur, I'll give you a shiur at your wedding or your party or whatever you want. But other than that, I don't want to dance. I don't want to party. I want to get to Olam Haba. Struggling with that. So spending the 3-6 hours in weddings and parties is not going to help me. It's my opinion. Anything else? Anyone? Yeah.
So the Torah says that there's 4 animals that only have one sign.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an opinion that says that 2 of them was the rabbit and the hare.
Ken.
But they don't even have any of the signs.
They have one sign.
What's the sign?
They regurgitate their food. Chew their cud.
You do?
Ken. They chew their cud. They don't have split hooves, but they chew their cud. The pig has one sign also. It has split hooves, but it doesn't chew its cud. Camel.
And the camel also has
one sign. He has one sign. The hare, the rabbit, the pig, and the camel. Those are the 4 animals. Some like to throw other animals in there. They start throwing kangaroos in there. They start throwing other animals, but then you see through research that it's all nonsense. There's only 4 animals. That's one of the proofs in the Torah. Even though there is a kofel, there's a heretic who calls himself a rabbi, who wrote some book, I think it's called Zoology or Zoa something. This guy, some Rasha, and it's Baruch Hashem that I forgot his name, but he's a really, really wicked guy. And he pretty much says that there's plenty of animals that have more signs than this. And in essence, he goes against all of the scientific proofs. He's the zoologist of rabbis. But the good news is that there's a cherem on him from all the major rabbis in the world. All the major rabbis in the world put a cherem on him. It's not like me, my opinion, or Rabbi Zrachi, or all the major rabbis in the world. As soon as he came out with his book, they put a cherem on him. He's not allowed in any respectable kila. Unless the rabbi of the kila is also kofir like him.
Trying to find a mistake in the Torah.
No. Trying to find a mistake in the Torah, have fun. You're never going to succeed. Enjoy. Trying to find a mistake in the Torah, enjoy. No problem. Aleino lagasi. You can do whatever you want. But to claim there's a mistake when there isn't one, meaning you've created a mistake from nothing, then you have a problem. Because then you've changed the Torah. So to say that, no, Moshe Rabbeinu's name was really Stephen, you have a problem. You just changed the Torah. To say, no, God really has a friend up there, you have a problem. You have a problem. So change the Torah. This is the problem with all of the other religions. The Rambam says that none of the only Jews are allowed to keep Shabbat and obligated to keep Shabbat, but Chasdei Umot HaOlam, the righteous among the nations, are not allowed to keep Shabbat. So there's multiple reasons. One reason is the fact that Hashem gave Shabbat to the Jews as a gift. As a gift. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says that Hashem comes to Moshe Rabbeinu. He says, tell Am Yisrael, I have a great gift for them in my treasure chest. It's called Shabbat. Meaning that Hashem gave the present specifically to Am Yisrael. That's why it says in the Pasuk in the Torah, Beni u benechem, the Brit, the covenant is between me and you. Me and you means Hashem and Am Yisrael, not you as the world. So it's very easy to prove. Now, the rest of the world is not allowed to keep Shabbat. They're allowed to celebrate, they're allowed to take off of work, they're allowed to have a nice meal, They're allowed to do whatever they want. They're just not allowed to specifically refrain from the 39 restrictions that we're not allowed to do on Shabbat because it's Shabbat. They're allowed to not drive just because they don't feel like driving. They're allowed not to cook just because they don't feel like cooking. They're allowed to not light a fire because they don't feel like lighting a fire, but they're not allowed to not do it because it's Shabbat. Why, the Rambam says? Because number one, this is a violation of the 7 laws of Noach. Why is it a violation of the 7 laws of Noach? It says, thou shalt not steal. You're stealing the present that Hashem gave Am Yisrael. You're stealing Shabbat, thief, death penalty. That's what it says. Someone that keeps Shabbat as a goy is a death penalty from Shamayim. So that's number one. Number two, Rambam says, is that anyone that keeps Shabbat when they're not Jewish is creating their own religion. If you're a Jew, you're obligated to keep Shabbat. If you're not Jewish and you keep Shabbat, that means that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing plus Shabbat. You've created officially a new religion. That is the universal problem with all of the other religions. With Christianity, with Islam, with Buddhism, aside from the idol worship, which is a problem of its own. Even if there was an idol worship, like for example in Islam, most common belief is that it's not idol worship. It's heresy, it's stupidity, but it's not idol worship. Even they have a problem. Why? They created their own religion. So now someone's going to come to me, it's a chacham, and going to say, wait a minute, but the Rambam says that the best thing that Hashem could have done for the goyim was to create Christianity in Islam. He did them a favor. So how can you say that the same Rambam says that it's not good? It's a contradiction. What's the answer? The answer is, it's not that it's good. It's not that Rambam said that it's good that there's Christianity or that there's Islam in the world. It's not that it's good. It's that it's the best possibility out of what was available. It's the least of all evils. In essence, before Christianity, there was only Judaism or idol worship. Outright idol worship. They took an idol, they prayed to him. The cow, statue, or whatever. After Christianity, 80,000 other religions were born. Islam being one of them. So now, the reason why the Rambam says that it's good for them that Hashem gave them these two religions is because this at least made them believe that there is one God. Even though technically Christianity is, for all intents and purposes, idol worship, they don't believe it's idol worship. Like there's no Christian that believes he's praying to an idol. There's no Christian that believes that his religion is idol worship. So even though it is, they don't know that. They don't understand it. So in essence, when the Mashiach officially comes, when Hashem discloses to the entire world the truth, as it says by the prophets, all 70 nations are going to come to the Jews. The ones that survived, the righteous among the nations, are going to come to the Jews. 10 representatives from each of the 70 nations are going to come for each corner of each tzitzit of every Jew. Meaning that every Jew is going to have 2,800, 700, 700, 700, 700, 2,800 non-Jews that are righteous are going to come to him and going to say to him exactly what the prophet says. What the prophet say? The prophet says, our fathers lied to us. Your God is the truth. Teach us. In so many words. So, why is this happening? Why is this even being said? The reason why is because these people did come from those religions. They came from Islam or from Christianity or Catholicism or one of these places, but they weren't officially idol worshippers. They weren't officially haters of Am Yisrael. And apparently they were righteous enough to survive. They were righteous enough to survive. They were Noahides or something like that. And they realized that the truth lays with Israel, and that saved them. And if they fulfilled their part of the Torah, and that saved them. And they did not fall for the trap of creating a new religion. They didn't start becoming like this half a convert, like there is a lot today. There's a lot of people that just start, they want to convert, but they can't, so they start keeping half of Judaism. So they just decide, no, I'm a Jew. I have a Jewish soul. Well, how many people tell me I have a Jewish soul? I'm like, oh, you have a Jewish soul? Oh, HaShem, there's no place in the Torah that says there's such a thing as a Jewish soul if you're not a Jew. But you have a Jewish soul. You have a new rule in the Torah. Everybody says, I have a Jewish soul, I have a Jewish soul, I have a Jewish soul. Okay, you have a Jewish soul. Whatever you want. What am I tell you no? Who am I to tell you no? But the reality is, you have a Jewish soul when you're a Jew. If you're a Jew, Baruch Hashem, you're not a Jew, become a Jew. But you can't be 50-50. Can't be 50-50. Why? Because there's an extra punishment for that. So, That's the thing that people need to understand. Listen, it's not easy to convert, especially in this politically correct world, the red tape and all the stuff that goes on with it, with money and all this politics and nonsense. It's not easy. But if you really want to convert for the right reason, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's difficult. You're still going to do it. You're still going to do it. If you're not willing to do it, then you shouldn't do it anyway. If you're complaining about how difficult it is, then you shouldn't convert. Because difficulty is part of being a Jew. So that's the thing when it comes down to all of these other religions. They're going to be able to say, your God is right, our forefathers lied to us. Why? Because at the very least, the good thing that Hashem, the chesed that Hashem did to them, is at least He made them believe that there is one God. So the transition from falsehood to truth is simpler. If it was, they were Buddhists, they prayed to some statue you buy in Chinatown for $20, and now you tell them, no, the God of Israel is God. It's a big transition. Last week I thought it was a statue. This week it's the God of Israel. It's a big transition. They're not going to survive. They're not going to survive. It's too much of a transition. Nothing to everything, it's too much. But if you believe that you were already praying to God, you called Him Allah, or you believe you prayed to God, but there was some other middleman in between, you believed, but you were wrong, it's not so much of a transition. Because in essence, you believed until this point that you were doing the same thing anyway. You just found out that you were doing it a little wrong. It's like you were laying tefillin your whole life, but you put the one on the head on the arm and the one on the arm on the head. So if I told you, listen, you corrected, put the one on the arm and the one on the head on the head. Oh, okay, that's easy. But if I told you, you were putting, instead of doing that, instead you were putting rocks. You're tying rocks to yourself, and I told you, no, you have to put tefillin. That's a big transition. It's too big. It's too big difference. So that's the chesed that the Rambam was referring to, where it's good that Hashem created Christianity and Islam. It's not that it's good for the world. It's not that it's good in essence that these are good religions. There's still sins against Hashem. But it's the least of all evils. It's an opportunity for some people to be saved from within those nations, without necessarily being Jews. Next question.
The sages in Mascot Media talked about Rabbi
Ken. Great Gemara. Great Gemara. He's praying to, he's giving the pirush, the commentary on the prophets.
Yeah, if that court asked who, then they allowed him.
Mm-hmm.
But when he wanted to continue,
They told him no more.
like, to them, they said, no, we don't agree that you do this. And then the Gemara later on explained, because in there is a way to find the exact time that the Mashiach is going to come.
Exactly.
Now, if that's the case, which I believe it is 100%, does that translate into the possibility of the people now who are involved in using gematria to determine what's happening in the world right now, what's to come, and so on and so forth? Does that translate into the possibility that at some point they can stumble upon?
No, two different things. It's two different things. Gematria existed already at the times of the Gemara. You'll actually see it in a different Gemara. I believe it's in a Moed Katan. Moed Katan, it says there were certain rabbis that were counters of letters. Counters of letters, meaning they did the same thing that the people that do Gematria and doing codes, Torah codes. Same thing. But it's two different things from what Rabbi Yaron Reuven was saying. Rabbi Yaron Reuven was finding the secrets beyond the Gematria, beyond the codes and so on. He was looking into things that were Maaseh Merkava and things that are above and above this world. And through his commentary and through the things that he was giving, he was literally able to find secrets of the future. With Torah codes, for example, which is what you're referring to, with Torah codes, they could generally, they're not going to be able to find the future. And the reason why is because with Torah codes, you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know what you're looking for. So, for example, all the Torah codes that we have that are substantial Torah codes are based on past, based on things that already happened. So you could find, for example, Obama, or you could find Amalek, or you could find Hitler, or you could find whatever you want to find in there. Find Pinocchio if you want. Find whatever you're going to find in there. But it's already after you knew the name Obama. It's already after you knew the name Amalek. It's already after you knew all these different things. Or you knew Nazi Germany and so on and so forth. So when someone is looking, for example, the exact time of the Mashiach, or who Gog is, out of Gog and Magog, or which country it's going to be, he's just guessing. He's just creating names because of the possibilities that he knows of today. He knows that Iran hates us. He knows that North Korea hates us. He knows that all the Arabs hate us, and so on and so forth. So the last thing that he's ever going to think of is usually the answer. Why? Because Hashem says, "Machshavotay lo machshavotechem." I don't think like you. So what we're looking for are the possibilities that we know of. But Hashem doesn't think like that. What ends up happening is usually the opposite of what we can conjure up. So for example, the best friends of the Jews, best friends, were the Germans. Best friends. We lived there, we prospered there, we ran the country, we ran the economy. We were rocking and rolling over there. It was fantastic until they started killing all of us. Understand? We liked it so much, we started marrying them. Even though they weren't Jewish, we'd actually convert to them. We started becoming Catholics and Christians and so on. It was America of its day until they started killing all of us. So the last thing anyone would have thought is that this is also Amalek. Because it's not logical, because you are a human being and you think logically, you think rationally, you think like a human. You don't think, hey, by the way, my wife is going to eventually tell this guy Hitler to kill me. The same wife that has kids with me and loves me and says do and all that things, she's going to go tell Hitler go kill me. It goes against your logic. You're not going to think like that. So you're not going to look in the code for that answer. In a sense, so if I told you somebody from America is Gog, to you like, come on, no, are you crazy? It's not even logical. They're our best friends. They just told us Yerushalayim's our capital. Thank you. We sent them a thank you letter. It's not logical for you to think that. If I told you that it's, I don't know, some island that no one even heard of yet, it's some island that exists, everyone knows it exists, it's on the map somewhere, but somehow it's going to become the strongest island, the most powerful, it's going to kill everyone, that's Gog. You say, no, come on. I think you're becoming too Kabbalistic already. I think you're in Maaseh Merkava yourself, you're over there. You're not going to think like, why? Because it's not logical. You're thinking Iran, you're thinking North Korea, you're thinking China, you're thinking the logical choices. That's why Torah codes can't tell the future. They try, and it's cute. It's cute. But the Rambam says you should not deal with any of those things that predict the future. You should not even learn or spend any time talking about what's going to happen when the Mashiach comes. Why? Because you can't arrive at an answer anyway. We're only going to know once it happens. And that type of learning is not going to help you earn either Yirat Shamayim or Avat Hashem. Meaning, nothing good will come out of it. You're just wasting your time. I know people like to talk about Mashiach. Great. There's certain subjects about Mashiach you should talk about. The fact that he's coming, the fact that we have to do tshuva, the urgency aspect of it, sure. If that gets you to do tshuva, sure. But as far as what's going to happen after, like a lot of people, I don't know if they're joking or they're serious, but they always, people send me these strange mails or and emails. And, naturally you have to read things at some point. So I read it and it's like, oh, when's the Mashiach going to come? Oh, it's December 12th, at 8:15. Like, you actually expect an answer? Like that, when's he coming? Or how come he hasn't come yet? Oh, like silly questions. So one guy sends me questions like, oh, what's going to happen once the Mashiach comes? Like some open question like that. Like, are you really asking for like a real answer? Like you want me to draw a world for you? Oh, it's going to be you and your wife, and you guys are going to be on an island enjoying, and she's going to be allowed to wear the wig. And what do you want me to say? Leave me alone. See, that's why I don't want to go to weddings, because that's what people talk about over there. Something they're going to ask me what happens with Mashiach. Like, I know. So Kiruv. So happens with the Kiruv. People ask you silly questions. So the point is that talking about what's going to happen to Mashiach is going to come, waste of time. Talking about Mashiach in general, it's going to help you do tshuva. It's coming. Gog Magog, it's going to help you get Yirat Shamayim, sure, it's fine. But even that limit. And the reason why is because you, regardless of whether Mashiach is going to come tomorrow or next year or 10 years from now, you still have to do tshuva today. You're alive today, do tshuva today. How do you do tshuva today? You need to know what to do. If you only learn about Mashiach all day, you're not going to have enough time to learn the halachot of how to survive day to day. So the Mashiach is going to come to you, and they're going to arrive. It's like, wow, you knew everything about me. Great. You're still going to Gehinnom though. Why? You didn't do anything about it. But you knew everything. You knew exactly the day that was going to come. You knew about the horses and the chariots. And it's going to come from the sky and the left side and the crown and the glory and the this. And you knew everything. You had a whole drawing in your house and you had the names. And you even guessed my name because the Gemara, Masechet Sanhedrin, gave us several names. And you put it together with the Torah codes. And you said it's this and you said it's that. And you knew everything. You even wrote a book about it. Chazak u'baruch. You're still going to Gehinnom. Why? You didn't keep any mitzvot. All you did is you created little Lego pieces that look like the Beit HaMikdash. You put little Lego pieces that look like the Mashiach with some horses, with some all different cartoon characters. You didn't keep any mitzvot. That's the thing. If we spend too much time, it's not good. We have to do. That's a mitzvah from the Satan. It's a mitzvah from the Satan. Satan wants you to spend all the time that you have for Torah on everything but Torah. Everything but what you're supposed to do. And I deal with this all the time. All the time. Myself, I battle with it. Sometimes I feel bad. People send me questions. I try to answer them. And even though it's a silly question, still, maybe for them it's important. So I answer the question, another question, another question. And next thing you know, you've answered questions for 3 hours. That was the 3-hour window that I had to learn Torah. Now I'm dead tired. And what happens? I send all the answers. 5 seconds later, there's a new list of 3 hours worth of questions. What happened? Nothing. Nothing changed in the world. All that changed, I didn't learn Torah. That's all that changed. So you understand? So sometimes the Yetzer Hara is going to just keep you busy. That's his number one tool, by the way, is to keep you busy. Keep you busy with doing nothing. Go talk about Mashiach. Go talk about what's going to happen. Go talk about Moshe Rabbeinu rising as if you're going to be next to him. The Rav Miponovich met with the Chafetz Chaim once. Chafetz Chaim was a Kohen. And Chafetz Chaim tells him, come join our yeshiva. We're starting a new yeshiva for Kohanim. We're starting a yeshiva for Kohanim because they're going to build a Beit HaMikdash soon. Mashiach is going to come. They're going to build a Beit HaMikdash. Do you know what to do? You know what to do? Korbanot, you have to bring your sacrifices, you have to do this, Korban Tamid, Korban this, Korban Chatat, all these different Korbanot. The fire also has to always be on. I mean, it's just to keep a fire on all the time. I mean, it's a job. And you have to wear certain clothes, and it has to be clean, and it has to be pure. You have to change shifts. You have to know when, how, who, how, all these different, a lot of laws. Certain tools you have to make, certain tools you have to use, a lot of different things to be a Kohen. It's not a big deal. It's not a small thing, big thing. You know how to do it. And the Rav Miponovich was young at the time. And Chafetz Chaim was old already. He was in his later years. He says, no, Kvod Harav, I'm not worried. I know if once the Beit HaMikdash is built, I'm just going to look at you. I'm going to do whatever you do. I'm going to do whatever you do. I see you do it. I'm going to do whatever I'm just going to follow what you're doing. And then he tells his students many years later, and he says, silly young me, silly naive me. The Rabbi Ponovich, one of the giants of the generation later on, he was young at the time. He says, what a silly me, what a silly young naive person I was. To think that I would have the merit to even stand next to the Chafetz Chaim when the Mashiach comes. With his Kedusha, he would burn me in the real world. In the real world, I wouldn't be able to stand next to him. I thought, no, I'm going to follow you as if I'm going to be able to even stand next to you with your Kedusha. And that's the thing. When people start thinking about, I'm going to see Yaakov Avinu and Avraham Avinu and Moshe Rabbeinu and all these different things, it's not so much like that. It's not so much like that. It's a very different, the real world that's beyond this world is a very, very different world. To imagine it, we can't. But it's definitely not like what we can, what people think they imagine. So it's better we just focus on making it there than thinking about what's going to happen there and who and what and when and what are you going to wear and is your hair going to be okay and the hat's going to be okay. They're going to like your hat. They're going to like your shirt. They're going to like this. Not going to help you in life. Next. Yeah.
Like if you're working in a place and like bosses usually have a quota, like they want to grow business like every year, so they're expecting to grow like double their size every year. So if like they had the quota to, they wanted to meet their expectation, well they didn't quite reach it, and they stressing and they kind of making like stringent decision that's making like everybody uncomfortable. Are you allowed to tell them that they didn't make that quota because of like HaShem runs the world, so they didn't want to make this year, so basically that's what happened, or should you just let them go about their business?
All right, if your question, okay, you're asking me, are you allowed to tell your boss that the reason why he's not making money is because God runs the world? Are you allowed? Yes. Should you? Only if you want to get fired. If you want to get fired, send him an email, send him a mail, I'll sign it for you. Why? Because he's your boss, he's in business. He's not necessarily looking for musar from you. He's not looking for you to tell him God runs the world, even if he's religious. Even if he's religious, even if he's a religious Jew, you know, okay, yes, you're right, God runs the world, but I run your life when you work for me, and you are the reason why I missed the quota. God wanted to give it to me, but mistakenly, I made a mistake of hiring you instead of hiring somebody that could give me the real sale. So, it's not going to, if you were working for me on Wall Street, even after you, I would have fired you for such a comment. Why? Because it's ambition, and religion usually go head to head. And it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult for someone to live both lives, at all times. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a non-kosher person if you're ambitious. By definition, you should be a kosher, ambitious person. You have to be ambitious. Ambitious for Torah, ambitious for all things. But there's a time and a place for certain things. It's common sense.
Like a consultant for the person, and somehow they're running the office.
If you're consulted for religious advice, yes. If you have the type of relationship with him where it's open and you talk about religion anyway, then yes. But if you've never spoken religion to him before, if you don't even know what his beliefs are, if you don't even know if he's an atheist or a Jew or a Christian or whatever, to go throw God at him as the reason of why he's not doing certain things, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for a new job, pretty much. It's not a thing. I think you can do it, but only under very few circumstances where you have that type of relationship. And that type of relationship is usually not going to be, go hand to hand with you being an employee. You being a friend, if you're his friend, he'll listen to it. If you're an employee, it's definitely not going to listen to it. It's not the place, you don't want to hear it from it. It's just not, it's like, I'll give you an example. What is it like? A woman is very sensitive about her looks. Doesn't matter what woman. Doesn't matter if she's 20. Doesn't matter if she's 900. She's sensitive about her looks. She's sensitive about how she looks, especially how she looks in front of her husband. Especially. But the last place on earth, she wants to get a rebuke about her looks is from her husband. Even though he's the one that she cares about the most of what he thinks of her, is the last place she wants to hear anything negative. So, if you want to be honest, with your wife, tell her, honey, I think you gained a little weight. Honey, I think that tchachkun you have on your arm, your little zit that you have on your arm, I think it's not good. I think you should put makeup on it. You could be honest. You'll also be divorced, though. You understand? You can be honest. There's a time to be honest. You can be honest. But you'll be divorced. So there's a time and a place for everything. You have to, we have common sense. Is that you can be honest with the boss, but you're also not going to have a job. So that's the thing. So there's a time and a place for everything. And being honest is extremely important, but also knowing when to use that honesty. So I think that as far as when you're running business, even if you believe that God runs the world, you still believe that you have something to do with it. You still believe that you have to make your own efforts. And your own efforts as an owner of a business are, in essence, running your ship. So if I have a ship, and one of my, shipmates, one of my guys is a drunk, even if I'm the nicest guy in the world, I'm going to fire him. Why? Because he's a drunk. He's ruining my ship. I'm not going to get to my destination, not because I'm mean. I'm not going to get to my destination because I'm too nice and I still hired him because he's a drunk. So I don't care that everyone's not going to like me because I fired the drunk guy. I don't care about that. I don't care that it's not going to be viewed well. I don't care that he's not going to be able to feed his kids. I don't care about any of those things. Why? Because I know that ultimately more people lose as a result of him being drunk. So as an owner of a business, I have to think like a business owner. And so if one of my shipmates tells me, hey, by the way, you're not getting to your destination because God decided that you're not going to get to your destination, that's not really going to help my cause. I'm probably going to fire him with the drunk guy. I'm being serious. I'm just telling you from both a religious and a non-religious perspective. It's just it's not a friend, different story. A friend tells you that's a different story, and even then, it's tough for people to hear the truth. People love the truth until it affects them. So also remember that. People love the truth until it affects them. So, for example, many women love the times that I talk about modesty in general. Many women love those clips about modesty, about wigs. In general, many women, Baruch HaShem, watch entire 3-hour shiurs just because they're waiting for me to talk about something, some chidush, some new insight about modesty. They love it. But as soon as I say something that they don't like, about something completely different, it could be about Shabbat, it could be about marriage, it could be about how to raise kids, it could be about money and stinginess, something completely different. As soon as I say something like that, cherem, Hitler, Nazi, Why? I said something, they love everything, and 6 months in a row, everything is great, until you say one thing. Same thing with men. Oh, great, Chazak Baruch, donate money, as soon as I say something, Nazi, Germany, Esav, you're Amalek, you're Erev Rav, all of a sudden, what happened? 6 months you love me, a year you love me, all of a sudden, Amalek, how could it be? One day I turned Amalek, I didn't even know about it. Baruch Hashem, he told me, thank you. Like, what can I do? So people love the truth until it affects home. That's Gemara Masechet Yoma, page 119. I already said that. So it's not nothing new under the sun. So you have to understand that to know what your tikkun in this world is, you have to know that it's something that's the most difficult. If it's easy for you, it's not your tikkun. You didn't come to this world for that. You have to do it. But if keeping Shabbat is easy for you, that's not the reason why you came to this world. You still have to keep Shabbat, obviously, but that's not the reason why you came to this world. Why did you come to this world? Why were you reincarnated to come again? What's difficult for you? Modesty? That's why you came. Stinginess? That's why you came. Shlom bayit? That's why you came. Whatever is the most difficult for you, that's the reason you came. So for all of those women, men, children, and so on, that are asking themselves, why is God doing this to me when He's giving them very, very big tests? Why is God doing this to me? Why am I broke? Why is God doing this to me? I can't find a wife. Why is God doing this to me? I can't have kids. Why is God doing this to me? I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't do this. Or they swear to you. Tell them, listen, you have to be modest. No, I swear, I can't do it. I swear. I could do everything else in the Torah, I just can't be modest. I can't wear skirts all the time. Or you tell them, no, I can do everything in the Torah, I just can't keep Shabbat. I swear I can't. They swear to you, mamash. They swear to you. They'll sign up their name. I swear I can't do it. God understands. God understands. They'll give you a whole argument of why God understands and understands and understands and understands. The reality is when you're asking, why is God doing this to me? There's an answer, immediate answer, that should be text right back to you. What's the answer? He's trying to help you. That's your cure. He's doing it to you because that's your cure. It's hard for you because He's trying to tell you that's your sickness. That's what you have to fix. You can't, it's difficult for you, kids are difficult for you, wife is difficult for you, Shabbat's difficult for you, learning is difficult for you, whatever is difficult for you, that's the difficulty, that's what you have to fix. That's what you have to fix. So, unless you are a self-destructive type of person where you're just creating problems for yourself, then it's a different story. Then it's your fault. It has nothing to do with God. You just created problems for yourself. Like if somebody just gambles all their life, they can't say, "Oh God, why did you make me broke?" No, you made you broke. You're a fool. You gambled all your money, and that's why you're broke. So again, you can't blame God for everything. There's certain things that are just purely our choices, and Hashem just is responsible for the outcome of our choices. But nonetheless, the key is to know that when something is very difficult for you, Hashem is talking to you. He's telling you, that's why you're here. Anything else?
The question, why is Hashem doing this to me? I've heard it countless of times.
Ken, popular question.
So I was wondering, from where do you learn this?
Why do we do this to me? We just like to.
From where do you learn the question?
Why do we learn to question God?
No, like it's okay. It's perfectly. That's one of the things that Judaism does. Nobody else does almost. But it's what did we learn to ask? Why is God doing this to us?
Why is God doing? What do you mean? I don't understand. I'm not following. That mentality?
Yeah, the mentality to ask why is God doing this to me? That specific question.
Well, I mean that's all. It's part of the Greek mentality that removes God from where He is, which is everywhere. The Greek mentality is not atheist. The Greek mentality is they believe that a creator created the world. They just believe that He left, and one of their rationale, one of their way that they justify their belief is that why would such and such happen if God was still running the world? Why would the Holocaust happen if God was still running the world? Why would evil people happen if God's still running the world? No, He just left. See, it makes sense because bad things happen, therefore it justifies that God left. That's the Greek mentality. Even more so on an individualistic basis. Someone says, how could God be there if He's letting all these bad things happen to me? And I can tell you for myself that at some point I was extremely upset at Hashem, stupidly, but nonetheless I was upset. I'm like, why? Why is God doing this to me? I give plenty of money for tzedakah. I help anyone that asks, pretty much. I'm a really nice guy. I'm this. I gave all the compliments in the world to myself. Why would God hurt someone like me? Like I thought it was like a little Moshe Rabbeinu, or Korach maybe. But anyway, that's I thought, why would God do this to me? Little do I know is that God's trying to save me. Little do I know that He's trying to save me through the sickness, through the pain, through the difficulty, through the hardship, through all of that. He's trying to save me. So the problem with us is that we think that what we see, that the wall in front of us is everything. It's the entire picture. The problem is that it's not even close to being the entire picture. It's just what's in front of us. It's just one version of it. The picture is four-dimensional. There's what we see, there's the side, there's the other side, there's the behind, there's the top, there's what it affects in the future, what affects in, immediately right after. It's the effect on other people, the effect on bystanders, and so on and so forth. The impact of the event that's in front of you is insurmountable in your mind. You cannot even calculate it. Even if you tried all your life to just calculate the outcome of you simply going to the store and buying candy. You think, I bought candy. $1. Used to be my age, it used to be 25 cents when I was a kid. Now it's $1 for everything. Whatever, fine. You buy $1, you bought a little candy for $1. And you think, I bought candy, big deal. If you actually thought about that transaction and what happens around the world, what Hashem moves, all the different pieces that Hashem moves for that to happen, before, after, during, your brain will blow up. The amount of people that had to work on that candy arriving at that moment, at that place that you bought it, is thousands. Thousands of people had to work. First, they had to get the whatever ingredients were. There was some wheat. You know how many people had to work to get this wheat, and then crush it, and then put it together, and then after that, sell it to some place that's going to resell it, that's going to sell it to, let's say, some company. The same company that's going to sell it to the company that's going to make the chocolate. And then the chocolate, somebody else in a different country had to get the chocolate from these people that don't speak any other language. None of them speak common language. People from thousands of different places, thousands of people from different places had to speak a universal language of capitalism. Okay? None of them spoke the same language as far as English speaking, but they all spoke capitalism. They all wanted common interest. But Hashem had to run all of that with people that made the wrapper, people that made the ingredients for the candy, the people that bought it for the store, that bought it for the chain, and so on and so forth. And now you bought the candy. Now, that's transaction one. Transaction one. Transaction two is now you gave $1. $1 came out of your hand. What's going to happen with that $1 and where it's going to end up, it's beyond. Even the first part, you can conjure up to some extent. How many companies have to be involved? But what happens to that $1 and the effect it has on the world, your brain's going to blow up. Why? $1's going to exchange hands. The $1 can have a stain on it that could be used as a DNA for some murder weapon or some murder this, or it could be $1 that's used for one final transaction that starts a war, or one final transaction that starts a marriage, or one final transaction that does something. That $1 could represent something extraordinary or something horrible or so on and so forth. But that's just for that one guy that got the $1. But what about the next guy that gets the $1? And so on and so forth. And then what about the camera that saw you being the one that gave the $1? And then the guy that behind you that got the change as the $1. The point I'm trying to tell you is that if one tried to understand the impact of a simple event in his life, he would not be able to do it. Simple event. If you try to just simply imagine what is a drop, you open a fountain, you wash your hands. Now sometimes you close the fountain and you don't close it all the way, so sometimes a few extra drops come out. If you could imagine what's the destination of that drop that came out, that extra drop that you didn't care about, that you don't think is a big deal because it just drops, a million drops. That extra drop, if you could somehow follow that single drop throughout its lifetime for a week, not forever, just a week, your brain will blow up. It's not possible. So Hashem runs that world. His thoughts are not like our thoughts. Why? It's not possible for us to even imagine the single action of just one of the things, just a single drop. If I told you that it's scientifically proven that every single snowflake, every single drop of water, not just snowflake, every single drop of water has its own fingerprint. Meaning there's no two single drops of water from the same little thing. No two single drops of water are ever the same. They're in the same cup, but they're not the same drop. They're not the same thing. There's nothing the same about them, other than the fact that water or whatever you're drinking. There's no two single snowflakes that have the same identical design. No, that's not possible for us to imagine. It's not possible for us. It's nice to talk about. It sounds cool. But you really can't comprehend such a thing. You could comprehend up to a limit. You could comprehend, okay, there's probably 50. There's probably 50. Or maybe there's probably 500 different types of snowflakes. It's 500. 500 I can imagine. I can imagine 500. You know what? You're really smart. You're like Einstein. 5,000. I can imagine 5,000. Or maybe you're this artist, this designer, this whoever this guy is, that drew this, maybe the ape in this drawing. Or maybe you're the guy that drew this other thing that makes us think that you're an ape. Whatever it is, this guy. Point is, maybe he thinks that there is 50,000 different types of snowflakes. That's not even a snowball. 50,000 snowflakes is not even a snowball that you throw at somebody in New York right now because there's snow there. It's not even a snowball. Do you understand? So a snowstorm, a human can't think like that. That's God. So when you ask God the simple question of why you're doing this to me, you're trying to humanize God. It's not a good idea. Not a good idea. He's doing it for you simply because he's trying to help you. How? You'll know in time. Tomorrow night we have another shiur. Be'ezrat Hashem, more questions, more answers, more subjects. No idea what it's going to be about yet. But Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully I'll have Siyat Lishmaya to come up with another clever idea to tell you guys. Maybe it has to do with this picture about apes. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen. Skol mitzvot.